Alrighty, we are here talking about a very, very, very large topic that we had to take out only the card games that we specifically have some experience with. Not all of them that we're going to talk about, but regardless, I am here with Mert in what will most likely be a very long video.
Oh boy.
Anyone who's new, Mert is my co-administrator, also best friend. We known each other since middle school. No, wow, high school. Sorry, we did not go to middle school together.
We were not all friends at the Ridge.
Truly not all friends at the Ridge. Alrighty, so online card games, aka what I like to call basically more popular gacha, American gacha, really. Card games started out for me. I was kind of just the classic, like, oh, mom and dad bought Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon cards, and I collected them. Didn't know what they did. They just had really nice photos, and that was about it. I didn't actually play physical card games. I still haven't, but I just always liked the idea of them. But learning and whatnot was really difficult. It wasn't until the first game that we're going to talk about, Hearthstone, where it really just opened up this world for me that was just like, holy shit, I can play card games now, and I don't have to worry about deck building because there's guides everywhere. I like to dub myself as someone who I don't know how to build my own decks. To this day, it's not really a skill I have. But I like to say that I can play any deck that is given to me as long as I understand like what core cards are. What about you, Murray? What's your background with cards?
Pretty much grew up on Magic the Gathering. I was like some little 6-year-old kid trying to learn Magic with my brother and like his friends, wondering why am I getting my shit beat in by vampires. Beyond that, it was some stuff with Yu-Gi-Oh! Like being a little first grader trading Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. We used to dabble in Digimon cards back in the day too. Back when that was a thing. I know we also had Pokemon cards. My brother had a lot of first editions that inevitably got thrown out by our mom at some point. Big sad.
Oh my gosh. That was always like a treasure to see, like when you would go to like Walmart or like pharmacies and they would sell these cards for games you just never heard of. Like
Yes.
like what am I thinking about? Like there would be like a movie out, right? Or whatever, fucking some Disney movie, and they'll sell like Disney movie cards and they weren't actually like a thing. They were just collectibles.
And then you have the fucking fake cards that people would sell sometimes in stores.
And actually, growing up in vacationing in Peru when I went as a kid, there was a ton of fakes, and I didn't realize they were fakes, but I just bought them because like I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna show everyone at school that I just got like the biggest like dubs. But no, they would peel. They were basically stickers. Like you would just peel them like stickers. That's how you would tell it was fake. Because real cards, they were sturdy.
Dude, even America had fake cards. Like I remember my mom went and bought like a fucking like this fake Yu-Gi-Oh pack in a Walmart. And I thought it was real at first, and my brother was like, no, this is fake. And I was like, what? We went to like look online, apparently it was real.
Oh my
Like it was
gosh.
actually fake. I was so sad.
God damn. I never experienced fake cards in the US. But when I went to like the street markets in Peru, like yeah, there was a shit ton of fakes, and they were like glorifying it too. They were trying to lie to you, and they were just like, these aren't fakes. They're just like really shiny, because they were really foily and shiny. That was like part of the
Yeah.
appeal. But nah, that shit peeled off like a sticker.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
So we have to talk about Hearthstone. Clearly, I can you really say that Hearthstone's like the grandfather of all online card games right now?
I feel like that would give it a little too much credit. Because I feel like the first real like online card game was probably like the really old shitty Magic Online, or like the those old like Yu-Gi-Oh programs. But I
Oh
mean, aside
yeah.
from like an actual like collectible CCG genre, I think Hearthstone definitely revolutionized that.
Okay, so it's more so Hearthstone definitely brought it into the mainstream, but isn't the first of the first.
Yeah,
You actually make a good point there. I forgot that, way back it was just like, oh, there were browser programs that ran like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, and they were like made by like just some passionate players that just knew coding, and they have wonky animations.
yeah. But yeah,
I mean, some
Hearthstone,
people still stay very loyal to that to this day.
true.
I know for a fact there are still Yu-Gi-Oh players that are just like, nah, screw Master Duel. I'm staying on whatever this site's called. I can't think of any at the moment.
I don't know if it's still YGO Pro or if it's like a different site.
Oh, there's like 6 sites now. There's
Oh
YGO Pro
Jesus.
is still one of them. Nexus, I think, is the name of another one, and I think I also did that one, or I made an account for it, but I didn't actually like play it because they made a change that I was not fond of. But we'll get to that when we talk about Master Duel. So
Okay.
actually, a couple months ago, Mert and I went down memory lane and watched a bunch of old videos of Hearthstone, just reliving those memories.
It's funny because as we're actively doing this, I literally have a stream open of Toast playing Hearthstone again.
Oh my lord. Yeah, this guy's Toast was he was like one of the biggest Hearthstone content creators actually.
Yeah, fans definitely blew up.
Him and Trollden. Trollden's still going at it surprisingly, but now it's no longer Hearthstone, it's now Hearthstone Battlegrounds. I remember starting Hearthstone and I was just like, "Oh my god, this is just it was a really wild experience." And they you know what it is? Blizzard is Blizzard, but they know how to make an interface and to get you like excited for things. Like I remember opening Hearthstone and the way that they would give you packs, the opening animation for those packs, and oh my god, you hover the cards and it shows like the rarity of the card. So when you see legendary, you got excited. And if you were a content creator, your chat got excited and you would click on it and see if it was great or if it was bogus because there were still shitty legendaries out there.
Yeah.
But regardless, Hearthstone, introduced that to me, like buying cards, the experience of buying cards and opening packs is no different than real life. Like real life is the same, if not even like more anticipation, because you just flipping through and seeing what you're getting. So it did a great job of mimicking that wonder when you open a pack.
Yeah, pack opening animation's definitely been a big crux of many different CCGs.
I would even argue that like they even like this isn't like a conscious thing, but I think it subconsciously makes you want to open more packs also.
I think that's what they're aiming for, honestly. Just so they make more money.
Honestly, I have been petty enough where I will lose interest in a game if like the animations aren't interesting, and not even just pack opening, but like just in general. If what I'm seeing on the screen isn't like exciting, then it doesn't motivate me to keep playing.
Honestly, I think I'm the same because I think that's what happened with me in Hearthstone.
Well, let's see. What can we remember from Hearthstone? Oh, actually, I can remember a deck. Grim Patrons.
Oh god.
The deck that single-handedly, I think, changed the course of the game altogether.
Everyone, get in here.
For those of you who don't know, Grim Patron was a 5 mana 3/3. I think it's a 3/3. I remember the
Yeah.
cost. A 5 mana 3/3 with the effect that read, if this card gets damaged or survives damage, summon another Grim Patron. And that's where the meme comes in. Everyone get in here. And it was so bad to the point where people made fucking EDM remixes of just that sound.
Truly a dark age.
And this was a Warrior exclusive, right?
Yeah, it was a warrior card.
Okay, yeah, so it's a Warrior exclusive, so you could pair it with cards like Whirlwind and I don't remember the name of this card, but it's a 2-mana 2/2, deals 1 damage to the creature on your left or whatever, or
Oh,
whatever.
Cruel Taskmaster.
Yeah, Taskmaster. There we go. And Taskmaster also adds a +2 buff to anything in damage. So basically the list goes on and on. I myself did not really enjoy Grim Patreon. I only played it to get up in ladder, unfortunately.
Oh boy, don't we all feel that way about meta? It's never fun. You just do it to climb.
Mm. But yeah, Hearthstone. I can basically pinpoint like each era of Hearthstone that we were active in. Another one was when they introduced the Inspire mechanic. When they brought out, let's talk about that actually. The one thing that like Hearthstone definitely also like got right was introducing keywords and mechanics into the game.
Yeah, because I think that
So
was
you
like the
had,
first online card game that I saw had a system like that.
yeah, it was interesting, and it got to the point where like people who aren't as experienced with like card games still use Hearthstone lingo sometimes. Like for example, Death Rattle, which is a
Yeah,
mechanic that exists on many. It has a different name, but it exists on pretty much almost every card game: Hearthstone, Shadowverse, Runeterra, Master Duel. For like more, MTG of course has that key term already, except it wasn't Death Rattle for them. What's the term for MTG?
I can't remember off the top of my head now. Actually, now that you mention it, oh my god, what was it called? I think it's just. I don't think they have a keyword for it. I think it's just when this card dies, do this.
That could also be true. It could just be like, oh, when this card dies, summon whatever, or add this. But yeah, those words were very significant, and they even made one that worked with the gimmick. Hearthstone had a hero um, mechanic where it was just you could select a hero, and you could pick from a pool of cards that only pertain to that hero, plus a neutral pool of cards that anyone could use. And one of them, the mechanic I mentioned earlier, Inspire, went off of that mechanic. But it didn't actually do too well. Inspire wasn't actually that popular of an archetype.
Yeah, it was. It was like it was cute, but like the effects were all kind of boring. It was a very tame set. Didn't really do much.
Yeah, like a lot of pretty much what all Inspire really did was just add 1/1 to everything. And while it was probably like glorious for zoo decks, they were already fine before that came out.
Yeah, it was pretty uneventful.
But yeah, Hearthstone was great for introducing keywords, different kinds of decks, meaning like different heroes running decks. Because in Magic, you guys just call it by the colors. It's just red, blue, green, what have you, because it pertains to the land that you can use for that deck. But Hearthstone just really simplified everything.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that the state Hearthstone got to now. It's really degenerate now. Everyone runs the same like 3 neutral cards that are just game ending.
So after the Inspire mechanic, Hearthstone tried other things to alter the game. Uh, Heroes, when you could literally evolve your own hero to gain a different hero power. You had secrets for everyone, and then there was quests. I think quests is when everything started to kind of flop off.
See, Quests was a really good set. But then I think like every set after was a little too much power creep.
Yeah, quests was great. So what quests were was I think you always drew this card in the beginning, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah, it was
and
always a
you
one
would,
cost
yeah, it was
that
a
you
one
drew to
cost
start.
quest card that you would play, and it would there a little exclamation point would appear on your hero, and it would basically say, "Hey, do if 15 monsters die, this will happen." And you spent the whole game basically trying to get that effect to go off, so your hero could evolve. No, sorry. So you could get the effect, basically win the game from there, if not already. There was one quest that just flat out, if you have cheated, it's an automatic victory. I forget whose it was though.
I know in like the newest rendition of quests, because they did like newer quests more recently. I know Quest Priest literally has a win the game card.
Mm.
Like their end game is literally draw a 10 cost card that gets shuffled into your deck by the quest, and the cards literally just destroy the enemy hero.
Destroy the enemy hero. That reminds me of that one. I don't know if it's a bug or if it was intended to be that way, but in demon decks, like when you run Jiraxis, if your opponent had sacrificial pact, they could use it on you, and then the game counted as a victory.
Oh yeah.
Was that intended?
I mean, it's seen so much, like people have done it so much in competitive play, like in official events. And Blizzard, I don't think ever did anything about it, so I'm assuming it was intentional.
They just kind of accepted it. They were like, "Yeah, let's just slap it on there."
Yeah.
Because I want to keep moving because we got a lot of games to talk about. Let's talk about one last thing about Hearthstone: the downfall. Here's the thing: online card games are only as alive as its players are. So if your players really enjoy the cards or whatever, they'll still keep playing. And if you, I don't want to say necessarily if you keep buffing or nerfing things, because that's another thing with online card games that's unique that doesn't really happen in MTG or Yu-Gi-Oh, is they can change whatever the fuck they want at any moment.
Yeah.
Like this might not be accurate, but I think Doctor Doom is a significant card in Hearthstone. It might have actually triggered anyone listening that was a Hearthstone player. Doctor Doom is a 7 mana 7/7 that summons 2 Doom bots that if they die, they deal up to 5 damage to a random place on your opponent's board.
Is it Doctor Doom or Doctor Boom?
Doctor Boom, you are correct. I am bad. I've been playing too much Snap, so it's because you know what? The Doctor Doom in Marvel Snap has a similar effect. He's a 6 mana 5/5 that summons 2/5 Doom bots. So
Jesus.
I thought that card was funny because I thought Ben Brode made him have that effect as like sort of like a nod to Doctor Doom, Doctor Boom. I'm not gonna get it right. That's an illusion. But in any case, I think the main contributing factor to Hearthstone like dropping dead is like a tie between the developers and RNG.
Yeah, I mean personally I stopped playing because RNG became too much of a deciding factor.
They started to embrace it, but in kind of a like the worst way possible. And I want to and I think the what killed this for me was Shaman. Shaman was given a card that like actually Shaman was given a lot of wild cards that had to do with RNG. You had Evolve.
Evolve Shaman.
Yeah, Evolve Shaman, which was that wasn't 1 mana, was it? I feel like it was.
I think it was at first.
It was a 1 mana spell, and all the monsters on your field, you evolve them, which means that if a card costs 5, it'll evolve into a card that costs 6. So you would play these like relatively low cost cards, evolve them, and they would just turn into like these beasts. You could fucking morph a 5 mana card into Ragnarok, and Ragnarok is like the classic like the card that does 8 damage to like anywhere on the opponent's field.
Yeah. It was an 8 cost.
8 cost, my bad. I thought it was a 6 cost for some reason.
That would be broken if he was. What the hell?
But yeah, no, RNG definitely contributed because the more they started embracing it, the more out of control it got to the point where tournaments were decided. There was like a controversial tournament because the victor won purely off an RNG effect. Like I think the other dude had him pinned down. It was nearly over. One more turn, it was like gonna be gone. And then like plays a card, random effect happens, he wins, and it's like a complete flip around. And here's the thing, RNG is funny. It is funny. Like when something funny happens is because of RNG, it's you laugh and you're like, oh my god, I won just because of that, or I lost because of that. But when it comes to when it hits that point of like just pure like, yeah, this whole game is a coin flip, it loses its like shine.
Yeah, it's just super obnoxious at that point because it just kind of invalidates all kind of skill play.
I know what card killed it. I just remember the name. Oh my god, the name left my head. But it was a 10 mana legendary. I can't pronounce his name, Yasgaroth or something.
Oh,
Where
Yogg-Saron.
he played a card for every card you played the game.
Yeah, he played a random spell for every spell you cast that match.
And it was a neutral card, so any hero could run it. And this motherfucker would just sit there and just start spewing shit. The God bless to whoever did the fucking programming for Hearthstone, because holy shit, the fact that I had to think and randomly pull out some cards, Ice Block, Fire Blast, cards that don't even matter to you, Hunter's Mark, that one priest card that gives you Shadow Form, they would just play so much random shit.
Sometimes you could kill yourself with it by accident. Like,
I've
oh, I
seen that
just rolled
happen.
Pyroblast and it hit me in the face. Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly. Like you think like you're about to win, and then your Yogg-Saron just targets yourself, and it's like, oh, okay, that's fine. I didn't want to make legendary anyway.
Like, it's cute, but like, goddamn, it's so bad for competitive play.
And the reason I want to tie that with developers is because, well, Blizzard has been questionable for a long time, but the first time I've heard of like developers being like walking out or something was because of Hearthstone. Ben Brode had stepped down, and I think a bunch of other developers stepped down. But Ben Brode stepping down was huge because he was the back and forth between us players and the game. Ben was heavily involved in the subreddit r/Hearthstone. He was heavily involved in the community as a whole on Twitter. And, you know, people would just talk to him about issues, and you would always say something, or like, I'll get the team to look at it. He was a good back and forth, which is, as we talk about more games, that's a very strong thing to have, is to have that person, the face of the game, mind you, be that person to talk to and get those issues addressed.
Yeah, you don't get that from modern Blizzard anymore.
And you really don't. Blizzard lost like both faces of their game. They lost Ben Brode from Hearthstone, then they lost Jeff Kaplan from Overwatch, and it's just
It's such a mess.
that's a that's a conversation for another day though. So after I stepped down from Hearthstone, I was really trying to like find like another something else to scratch that itch. And on Steam, browsing the free to play section, I made eye contact with one of the most financially ruining things in my life, Shadowverse.
Financially ruining. How much money did you drop?
Oh my god, it was like every expansion at least minimum like $150, I think. Maybe even more to be
Oh my
honest.
god.
Yeah, it was bad. Okay. Little background. Shadowverse is another online card game free to play on Steam, but the appeal is that it's anime. It's an anime card game. So that was already a big sell for me. I was like, oh, I like the aesthetics of the game, the music, the way that it plays. So what happens when you have an anime card game? What do you do? Especially when you're a company by the name of Games. You have collaboration events.
Oh, daddy side games.
Daddy Games and collaboration events were hand in hand. We had Fate, Love is War, some weird horse girl anime.
Yeah, Uma Musume.
We had
We had Zombieland Saga.
Zombieland Saga. We
We
just
had
had
ReZero.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. One of the biggest ones, ReZero, was a collaboration. Basically, like Games. Granted, these collaborations were a little late. Like they obviously couldn't get them to come out at the same time as like, oh, the anime's airing or whatever. But still, there was a lot of hype around it because you would just say, "Holy shit, I can deck people as fucking uh Kaguya from Love is War." Sign me up.
Yeah, even fucking Shinonome is still my leader for RuneCraft.
Yeah, it was just crazy. That's not why I went broke though. I went broke because I loved the decks. The decks in Shadowverse, like the archetypes and everything, were just so much fun to play.
Yeah, it definitely scratched an itch you never got from Hearthstone.
Let's talk about the very first decks we got addicted to. So mine was Havencraft Seraph.
Oh, that was a good one.
So explaining a little bit what that is. Havencraft Seraph was a so Havencraft had every class had a mechanic with it that was unique to that class. Similar to Hearthstone, not quite. Havencraft's gimmick was countdowns. So Hearthstone had three different types of cards, at least from what I remember. Your creature, minion, hero, whatever, regular card, spell, and amulets. And Hearthstone back then was pretty much the only the only deck to use amulets. These amulets were like these little stand-ins that had a turn count with them that would reduce each turn, and then when the amulet reached 0, it would become something. One of the most famous ones, 2 mana, 2/3 countdown. When it hits 0, you would summon a beast, like a 4/4 tiger, and a 2/1 bird.
Yeah,
That was like
Beast
one of the
Call
famous ones.
Aria.
Yeah, Beast Call Aria. Thank you. I should have like a Google tab of just everything from card games at this point open. I should have done that for this.
I just
But we did
remember
it.
off the top of my head because I use that card so much.
Oh yeah, you still play, right? Or are you on and off with the game?
Right now I'm kind of on and off because I don't know, meta's a little too unstable every set. It's like one set, okay, Swordcraft and Runecraft are OP. Okay, next set, okay, those two classes are dead. Now Shadowcraft and Dragon are OP, whatever. Then it changes every set. It's a little annoying.
But yeah, like Shadowverse, just playing those decks, wanting to play them. I followed a lot of content creators that played Shadowverse, and they would always play something that looked really fun, and I would be like, I want to do that. What do I need to make this? And then I'm like short like 4,000 blood vials or whatever, and I'm just like, well, cha-ching. This is before I started living on my own, so obviously shit, I get checks, I don't pay rent, let's go. Like that was just the mindset. It was like, oh, spend it while you got it. It wasn't great. It definitely wasn't not a good habit. So do not be addicted to gacha, because that's what it is. It's basically being addicted to gacha.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So what deck were you addicted to at first that you can remember?
Oh man, I know Dimension Shift was one. I love that card. So Dimension Shift was part of Runecraft. And just like Havencraft had the countdown gimmick, Runecraft had the spell boost gimmick, where certain cards increase their spell boost count by 1 every time you cast a spell. So Dimension Shift was an 18 cost card. Or I think at the time it was 15 at the beginning. And every time it was spell boosted, it would reduce the cost by 1. So you could end up playing it for like 3 or 0 if you wanted to. And basically what it did was you play it, you take another turn immediately after your current one. So the whole game plan was take these different monsters that have like 9 or 10 cost, but you can spell boost them to 0, throw them all out, and then play consecutive dimension shifts to take turns over and over again.
Yes, and this wasn't limited to one also. If you played 3 dimension shifts, you were giving 3 extra turns.
It was incredible. It was like every combo player's wet dream.
Yeah, really, that a card that gives you another turn is insane no matter what card game you're playing. That is just it's a very hard art mechanic to balance. And to this day I don't think they still figured out how to balance that card, cuz I mean eventually it got put to classic set. Like it's not in the current Shadowverse has 2 metas. There's what's on rotation, and then there's unlimited, which was like, oh, every card ever can be in this, which was a mess. I never played it. But then you have like the regular, like, oh, Eventually, after we started playing, they implemented. They were like, "All right, we're only gonna let you use cards from the previous, like the most recent three card sets that we released," which is not uncommon. Formats have always been a thing in the card games. Magic the Gathering has formats. Yu-Gi-Oh formats. Hearthstone has the Wild and Standard.
Pokemon has formats, yeah.
And this is just inevitable. If you're gonna have a card game and you want to continuously print out things, you're eventually will have to implement formats. It's just keeps things organized, keeps people interested, because these sometimes these will force players to like rethink their cards, rethink their decks. But it can also kill decks entirely. You can accidentally just kill a whole archetype. This happens with balancing also. With Shadowverse, I'm trying to think what deck died because of a nerf. Maybe Ramp Dragon?
From a nerf, I can't remember any deck that like hard died from a nerf off the top of my head.
Aggro Blood. Specifically, no. I know what deck died.
Oh,
Neutral
Vengeance
Blood.
Blood. Oh, and
Oh,
that.
okay. Vengeance Blood also. Also, as you explained Runecraft, I realized I never actually explained what Seraph did. So
Oh
really
yeah.
quickly, Seraph of the End was a legendary amulet that if you... So Seraph had phases. I don't know the name of all the phases, so don't kill me. The phases of Seraph, I think it was like 5 phases. And you would use like countdown cards or cards that help reduce your countdown, or flat out destroyed amulets, because when you destroyed Seraph, it would spawn another like phase of itself. The objective of Seraph was to get it to the very last one, where the literal condition of it is win the game.
Yep, it was a great old alternate win con.
Oh man, I remember climbing ladder. I built that. That was my first thing I just built. I dusted and just went to it as fast as I could. But yeah, Shadowverse had did not have a lot of nerfs and buffs as I remember. They did not spend a lot of time refining the cards. They were just kind of like, here are your cards, go nuts. Oh, the player. There was this site that had like the win rate of some cards, and if there was like some card having like too crazy of a win rate, they would nerf. They would definitely nerf a card in that deck, but it wouldn't be the card that everyone was talking about.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Like they really hesitated to nerf legendaries. They were like, and I know why, because I don't know if this is like a rule for everywhere else, but in Shadowverse, if a card is nerfed, you could liquid it for full value. So instead of like liquidating it and getting like that sounds horrible, but instead of dusting it and getting like a portion of like your vials back, you would you
You
would
get a
get the
full
full
refund.
thing. Yeah, full refund. So I think they knew that if you dusted legendaries, you could just get yourself a new legendary, and it would like it was like it felt like a money thing. I want to say it wasn't, but it felt that way because of how hesitant they were to nerf legendaries.
And yet they had to keep doing it to blood.
Yeah, Bloodcraft received just a shit ton of nerfs because they kept making. Because here's the thing, Bloodcraft was an aggressive archetype. Like a lot of the cards were hell bent on dealing damage to players and yourself, but there were cards that helped prevent it from dealing damage to yourself or even healing you instead of taking damage. Aggro
Yeah.
Blood is infamous for how fast it could kill you with very little counterplay whatsoever.
I still remember when they printed like one of the newer renditions of Vengeance Blood. They had a new legendary where as soon as you drew it, if it showed up in your hand, you revealed it, you were permanently in Vengeance for the rest of the game.
Jesus Christ.
It immediately gets nerfed like a couple weeks later because it's ridiculous.
And that's the thing. These nerfs and buffs took a long time to even get them to realize it. People just abused the shit out of like these broken ass decks and would just play it in ladder. Like if you were above gold in Shadowverse, really any card game, you're in meta hell. It's just everyone trying to play the same like top tier deck that they know is going to perform well just because they want to reach the top. And then when you finally got to like Masters or whatever, then it's like, okay, cool. Now I can dick around and play whatever I want.
Or you're gonna face the sweaty people who are trying to hit Grandmaster.
Yeah, that's that too. So really, the sweat doesn't really end. It's just like the more you climb, like there's a more of a possibility people be okay with it.
I only ever bothered hitting Grandmaster one time. And that was during the Coliseum set because that was amazing for Runecraft.
You know, to this day, I've never hit like a high rank on any card game I've played. I've never hit above like high like mid high tier like let's
Really?
say gold or plat. I never went above that. Never hit legendary in Hearthstone. Never hit Grandmaster in Shadowverse. I think to hit that level of like it just requires a lot of playing.
Yeah, it's really grindy.
Like it's not so much like oh like the better you are like the higher your rank. It's more so how much are you willing to play to get to that rank. Skill
Yeah.
is definitely involved, but also like just the grind mentality is definitely there, which I just didn't have. Shadowverse was a comfort game where I would just play 3-4 matches and get off and hard. That's why I actually hardly stream card games is because these games I just play just to like oh my god I got to play this cool ass deck or whatever, play a couple games, maybe go up a rank and be like yeah, and then I get off. I don't have that mentality where it's like oh shit I have to hit Grandmaster before the season ends.
So you're not competitive in card games that much.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm competitive when I play, like when I'm playing against someone, and I'm very glad I don't stream Snap that often because I get toxic to myself when I play Snap. Like I'll say things to like players that like should not be said, but it's like
I've seen you. You're like, why are you running this card? You're
actually yeah, that's true.
trash.
Actually, that's true. Yeah, like even like when I'm in casual calls, and I will say what I'm thinking out loud very often, and I know for a fact that I would just get like stares if I'd had brought that mentality to Twitch. I'm almost the Tyler one of Marvel Snap, which is hilarious because Marvel Snap is basically just it's a phone game. It's a phone game that is going to have a full like PC UI in the future. They're still working on it. But for right now, it's like something you just play and you're like, oh my god, cool. I don't think there's been like any like tournaments for it or yet.
You considering there's no way to like have private games, I don't know if they can do tournaments for it.
Oh, that's also true. You can't actually like face each other. Well, actually, they for launch before the launch, they did like have like people face each other in Snap. I don't know how they did that though. Like
Huh.
they had like this like live stream or whatever. They were just showing off like, oh yeah, here's some like oh here are some cards in the game. We're having some like friendly like matches between employees. It might have been like a private server.
Probably.
Probably. But yeah, Shadowverse was definitely I definitely enjoyed Shadowverse more than I enjoyed Hearthstone and stayed on it for much longer. And then I fell off of Shadowverse just because I ran out of money. Well, not that. It's just like, this is going to sound depressing, but it's like you get older, you have other things you have to like pay for and, focus your energy on. You have to you just have to like focus your money somewhere else. You can't spend $80 for cards on Shadowverse. So when I stopped buying Shadowverse cards and they kept adding expansions, eventually I hit that point where it's like, well shit, if I want to try to have a decent game, I'm gonna have to dust a lot or spend a lot of money, and I didn't have the time or patience to really do both of those things, so I kind of came off Shadowverse. Although I will say, if they do bring back, they did this once. I don't know if they ever did it again. If they bring back that one mode where you could play like old decks or whatever,
Oh. What mode was that?
it was like a temporary event where it was just like you were there for it, where it was just like, oh, you have to. It was like a classic revisit or whatever, where it was just like, oh, you can face people, but you can only use like these like old meta decks from back then.
Was it a
Seraph
Grand
Haven.
Prix?
I think it was a Grand Prix. Yeah, it was an event. I remember it was an event. Yeah, it was a Grand Prix.
Uh,
It was a Grand Prix where you could only play like old decks, and they were pre-made, but they were like I think the player base like contributed to like what the old like great decks were. Havencraft, Seraph Havencraft was there, which is one of my big draws. Dimension Ruin was also one of the cards there. Fucking Alice in Wonderland, Dragoncraft was there also.
God.
And it was fun. It was really great. I was like, wow, more card games should do that more often. Like if Hearthstone had like a revisit event or whatever where you could play, oh, here's fuck it, play Grim Patron Warrior. Like who cares, right? It's like it's an event, but you could still revisit that. Like I would definitely like maybe come back and do some stuff.
Play Face Hunter again,
Yes.
before it got nerfed into the ground.
Secret Mage. Alex Straza's Secret Mage. Ice Mage. Oh my god, Ice Mage.
Malagos Druid.
Malagos Druid. Holy shit. But yeah, like if you just bring back like nostalgia is a good way to get like old card game players of like uninstalled the game, moved on with their lives to be like to raise an eyebrow and be like, well, it has been a long time, and they come by and it just you know
Yeah,
it's definitely a great idea. I really hope Shadowverse does that.
definitely.
So after Shadowverse, um, we're gonna probably briefly go over these games because they don't really have like a big impact, but I still feel like they should be mentioned. Eternals. We were not a big fan of Eternals. We tried it, but it didn't really stick.
I'll be honest with you, I don't even remember how it plays.
It's very much like Magic. It has like pick your faction and like its colors pertain and whatnot. It really felt like they were heavily inspired by Magic, but it just wasn't appealing. And I think it goes back to what we said earlier, where it's just the animations. It just didn't really have anything going for it. It's still active to this day. Let me actually see its Steam
Really?
page. Yeah, there's still like an Eternals fan base. Eternal card game. There we go. Store page. Ooh, mixed reviews. But yeah, this game is still active as of today. Published in 2018. And I remember that because I got on it right as it came out. And honestly, like the aesthetic of it is like Magic meets Hearthstone, but that's just in terms of the aesthetic. The actual gameplay itself didn't do too hot.
Yeah.
Another one that deserves a bit of a shout out is Elder Scrolls card game. Did you play this, or was this me only?
You told me about it, and then I tried it out a bit. I played it for like a couple days. Didn't really hold me though.
So Elder Scrolls Legends, wow, it's still active. Very positive reviews. Holy shit,
That's
people love this
crazy.
game. What the hell? Oh, nope, there's the negative reviews. Oh, it's just a lot of people saying it's pay to win. So Elder Scrolls Legends, the gimmick that they had was that there were two fields or whatever, and like you could play a card on each like side, and it would only like attack that side or whatever. It was interesting, but it just
Yeah, where like one side you summoned something and it could attack the same turn. The other side it couldn't attack the same turn, but it couldn't be attacked either or targeted until the following turn. It was interesting.
yeah, it really was just it did not hold me. Elder Scrolls Legends was actually very quick to be on mobile. Also, I remember that they were like, oh, you can also play this on the iPad and on your phone, and I was like, oh, that's cool, but
Yeah, it's uh It's a very unattractive game.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad. I guess I'm glad it's doing well now, but it's just still. Oh, this isn't gonna be a thing, but I did want to give a shout out to Duelist for being one of the most unique card games I played, but was not smart enough to keep playing. So Duelist, just to explain to y'all what Duelist was, it was a card game. However, it wasn't a traditional like, oh, you play in front of you and then your opponent play whatever. It was like it was like a board. You would play like the card, and it would turn into a little minion that you would place somewhere in the board, and it would like move around, or it would do something, fight the other like minions in the board. Like if TFT and Hearthstone Battlegrounds are like considered auto chess, I would consider this like card chess.
Huh.
And it was a really unique experience, and it was definitely like different.
I like barely remember because I only played it for like a day.
Yeah, the aesthetics and like the overall vision they had for this game were so inviting. It was so cool, futuristic. Like even opening packs, you didn't open packs. You opened like these silver orbs, and they would turn into cards. It was just this wild experience, and I really wanted to be like more into it. But holy shit, it just required too much like IQ to actually play.
Runeterra is quite literally the shit. There's people that thoroughly enjoy animations. This game delivers.
Runeterra was such a very very good execution of a card game launch. I'm so used to like when new things are announced nowadays, I'm so used to like the launch being like so or whatever.
Yeah.
Bugs and whatnot. But holy shit, like just the presentation of anything when a card like evolves and reaches its true form, you get a whole show on your screen. Like it plays like a little mini like film.
Yeah, getting that cutscene when you level up your. Oh my god. Ugh, instant dopamine rush. I literally go out and buy skins for cards that have alternate animations. Looking at you, Star Guardian Kaiso.
When Runeterra came out, I enjoyed the gameplay so much that I decided to go full ball, and I dropped $100 just to buy all the legendaries of the first pack.
Shit.
Because Runeterra let you. Because Runeterra, how they do it is they like you could buy the shards specifically to craft legendary cards. And I did the math, and I was like, oh, okay, it would take $100 to craft all the legendaries, so I'm gonna just do that, and I did, and I had a pretty decent time, and then I just stopped playing.
Yeah, we both kind of just stopped playing for a while. And then I ended up getting back into it. I saw the new shit. It was so good.
I wonder why
Runeterra
that
definitely
is,
came a
like why
long
we
way.
fell off, because it's like the game wasn't bad, the balancing was pretty okay. Honestly, there wasn't really a deck that was like an issue in my opinion. I stayed throughout the first expansion, which introduced like dive and lurk, not lurk.
Deep.
Yeah, deep, and introduced dive and deep, and it definitely like was really really cool and interesting and fun to play. Like I still my favorite deck to this day is still like playing Nautilus and Maokai. And then we just kind of stopped, and I'm not really sure why.
I don't know why either. I guess maybe because at the time, I think personally, I didn't have like a deck that resonated with me at the time. Because like the game had really good fundamental mechanics, but I don't think there was like any like gimmick mechanic that really resonated with me that I just really wanted to play. So I think I just kind of just got burnt out too quickly. But
Yeah,
then
I
I
guess
ended
that
up,
makes sense.
yeah, then I ended up playing again because Star Guardian event because oh my god, Star Guardians is a big bait. Everyone loves that shit.
Yeah,
And
like after Mert and I stopped playing, the game still very much kept the foot on the accelerator.
yeah, like they keep making new stuff in that game. Like the Star Guardian set where they made the new evolve mechanic. And then after that we start getting the equip cards in the newest set with Darkins. Oh my god. I feel like Runeterra is finally hitting its big stride.
And I've
I'd be
actually also admire the modes that Runeterra has added. Like if you're not a person that likes PvP, Runeterra's like, we got you. Here's an adventure mode that reminiscence fucking Slay the Spire, which is still one of Steam's top games right now.
yeah, here's Path of Champions, an inbuilt roguelike. Like
Mm-hmm.
just play. Which is wild.
I'm someone that can burn hours just playing Slay the Spire. So the fact that they just dropped that, I'm just like, oh, I can actually do this. I haven't done it lately though. Um, but like I still have Runeterra downloaded, and I still like it's an easy game to like revisit. You just have to like if you forget something, there's like a tutorial section that teaches you all the keywords and stuff. You just like look at that for a second. But a lot of the cards are very self-explanatory also.
Yeah, this. Oh, I got so enraptured with Runeterra again. I ended up consistently getting masters for the past two sets. I think this set I was like top 500 NA at one point. Because I grinded.
Yeah, Runeterra is definitely pretty damn well done. Might have to play that a bit more when I have the time. So with Runeterra, so another thing about Runeterra that I think is going to help last as long as it will is it's not as pay to win as most other card games are. Well, pay to win's not really prevalent unless okay, here's the thing. If you play a card game consistently, like you participate, you get your dailies or whatever, I don't think that player sees the game as pay to win. But if you're someone that plays casually and you barely touch it like once like 3-4 times a month, and you try to play like competitively, I think that person is going to see it as a pay to win experience. Runeterra, I feel like is the least likely to be that pay to win experience because I feel like they offer more ways to get card shards and legendaries than most other games do.
Yeah, like Runeterra's weekly vault system is such a huge, like, I guess, reward, like free reward for just actively playing. Like, just win a couple games, like, every day, and you have a decent, like, diamond chest and 2 golds waiting for you in your weekly vault. That's a decent amount of rewards. Even, like, a free champion card every week. It's pretty generous. I've never seen another game do that kind of stuff.
If there's one thing I can credit Riot for, they are very great at getting people addicted to their games.
Yeah.
Like they are just absolutely. That's why I'm saying like when Riot drops an MMO, that's just gonna be it. Like I'm just gonna be like, all right, this is gonna be my life for the next like the rest of my life essentially, because I know for a fact they're gonna drop an MMO, and I know for a fact it's gonna be like addicting.
I mean, they already confirmed there's one in development.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, who was doubting me? Rito was doubting me about that, but that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, no, they're making their. It was like a couple years ago. where Riot was just all of a sudden, Riot was just kind of like, you know what? We're fucking sick of League. And they just started making shit. Runeterra, TFT, Valorant. All these games have something in them that can make anyone addicted. There's something about them that's just really, really fucking fun. And
Yeah, like
Runeterra,
sorry, go
sorry.
ahead.
I was just gonna say, and Runeterra is so confident with itself, so confident that the Riot has made skins in Runeterra. You could literally skin a card. When have you heard that? When have you heard that you could like skin your actual cards? I'm used to skinning my hero, my card backs or whatever, my fucking playmat, but never the actual card themselves.
Yeah, even Shadowverse, you had to pull like an alternate art version of a card. You can like buy a skin directly.
So let's backtrack a little bit because I know exactly where this conversation is going to go, but I know if it does, it's going to skip over this. Magic the Gathering. So you started out playing Magic the Gathering. I did not learn how to play until the online version came out. But I've never actually heard you talk or mention that you don't about playing the online version. So did you just not get appealed by it, or what was the reason for not playing MTG online?
I mean, I played it for a little bit. Like I played MTG Arena, and I think I played that for like I want to say a month. And honestly, like I just didn't stick to it because it's like other card games hold me like through like fun gimmicks and like that make me want to like play them, hold my attention. Haha, ADHD brain. But Magic, it's very straightforward. Like it's like just playing the game, you know it's way more competitive than like a lot of other games. If if even like all of them. And so it's like honestly, it's a little intimidating playing it, and it definitely feels overwhelming at times. So like after playing MTG Arena for a while, I just ended up feeling like burnt out, like super burnt out.
For all of you that heard the word Magic the Gathering, the majority of you envisioned a person in your head or a stereotype in your head. And I just want to tell you that whatever you're thinking is correct. That is exactly the kind of person that plays Magic. And that is why Magic is intimidating because and it is like myself, I was a newcomer, went into it. I understand the mechanics of Magic the Gathering. Mechanics aren't bad at all. They're very simple and straightforward. What's bad is the decks. The decks, the I think Magic also has like it's not called quests, but I think it's called like legends or something.
Oh, sagas.
Yeah, huh, ironic. Um, but like there's so much text on those cards and shit, and like it's it's definitely intimidating. It feels like Magic the Gathering is a game where I play and I already know I'm the dumbest person in the match.
Yeah, actually. It always feels like that.
Like it literally feels like it literally Magic the Gathering puts you back in that like, oh my god, I'm 9 years old and I'm playing against my like 17-year-old brother in Magic the Gathering and he's just gonna wipe the field with me.
Like it's funny. I think that's why the commander format is so popular in Magic now. Because I think it's like the format that makes Magic fun for people who don't like Magic. Like I'll
How
see
do we
all
get our
my
game to be popular? Oh, let's just intrusive mode that makes it feel like it's not our game.
literally like commander. It's like okay, build 100 card deck where every card is different. Imagine what you will of such a game mode. And I swear to God, you'll find so many people who love this mode so much. But if you ask them if they've ever played like rotation Magic, like standard, or if like
the unlimited version, they'll be like, "No, I've never touched real Magic." It's so funny.
That does sound hilarious, actually. I mean, hey, if it gets them playing the game, like, why not, you know?
Yeah.
One of the most appealing things about Magic, I haven't done it myself personally, but like you talked about it and it sounds really appealing, is like the draft tournaments.
Oh yeah, drafting's fun.
Could you explain what drafting is real quick?
So my experience with draft is like I'm gonna talk about like the physical TCG because this is the most I've done drafting. But basically, like you and a bunch of people would like sit at a table. You'd crack open a pack. Then you take all the cards inside. You take out the lands because you don't care about those or the tokens. It's like once you have the actual cards, you take one card you want from that pack, and then the rest you pass to the person next to you. And then from the next pack that just got passed to you, you take another card, pass it down, and then rinse and repeat until there's no more. And then you do that with I think like two more packs or three, something like that. And then you end up making a deck out of all the cards you pulled out.
Arena? I'm actually surprised we skipped this when we talked about Hearthstone. But like the arena mechanics, or like any mechanic where, or sorry, mode where like your deck is random every single time, are always interesting to watch and play.
Yeah, Hearthstone Arena was always really fun.
We actually, I don't remember if you remember this, but I remember one time, back when I used to stream Hearthstone, we actually did arena run together. So Mert and I would sit there and we would talk about like what card to pick for the arena run, and then we would say like, oh, we play this, or maybe we shouldn't. And it was actually really fun. It was like the closest we got to like a co-op like Hearthstone game.
I think I vaguely remember this.
It's like nothing crazy happened, so I wouldn't expect you to, because like there was nothing like stands out from while we did it. But I still remember like bits and pieces. I just remember you just being like, no, take this card instead.
No, Quinn, we're gonna do what I want.
Well, because I was like, oh, 'cause I preferred your suggestions because I back then like you knew Hearthstone a bit better than me, so I was just kind of like, yeah, that works. Plus, unlike myself, Mert actually can construct his own decks and play them out.
True, theory crafting new decks was always fun.
Honestly, yeah, from what I've seen, Marvel Snap, I can kind of make my own decks, not really, but it's a little easier because limited amount of decks. There's only 6 turns per game, and they have like types or whatever that makes sense when you put them together. We'll talk about that more when we get there. But yeah, no, mostly I'm that person who just like, all right, Google tier list. I'm the net decker. Ah, there we go. The card game's N word, net decker. That phrase was often just thrown at you. More so in Hearthstone, when you won a game and then like the other person was just like I guess salty or something, and it's just kind of like you're a net decker. And what that means is that person knows that you copied it from from online. You Googled and you saw this is a great deck, and you copy and pasted, put all the cards and played it, and you're like, wow, free wins. And for some reason, people considered that an insult, but I never did. I was like, yeah, because I feel like to be a good net decker means that you have to have a good understanding of what you're actually doing.
Yeah, you can't just like copy a deck and automatically start winning. Like, no, you need to understand what that deck is doing.
Like, I would definitely argue that there is a great talent to making your own decks and making them work. And I mean, sometimes people discover things and they become meta breaking. Like, I get that people want to be that person, but I also think that there is just a ton of skill just looking at, like, oh, here's like 12 pictures, because that's what cards are. Here's like 12 pictures, make them work. And then the person just figures it out. Like, it's incredible, really.
Yeah.
And that's not me trying to pat myself on the back. It's funny we're talking about this because this goes very well with the next topic, Master Duel.
No boy. I've net decked and Master Duel shamelessly.
Oh, I have too, believe me. I mean, obviously, but in Master Duel, they don't use that phrase. They call you a YouTube decker or something. Here's the thing: Master Duel is available on all consoles. That sounds like an ad. But it is Master Duel is on PS5, Switch, Xbox, you name it. It's there. The problem with the card game on consoles, Xbox specifically, is that it's really easy to send a message to somebody. I'm in a Master Duel Facebook group. Still am. I don't play anymore, but I still am in a Master Duel Facebook group. Oh, and to those who don't know, Master Duel is Yu-Gi-Oh. Xbox players specifically, if you beat them, they will literally DM you and say, "Oh, stop ripping off of YouTube."
Oh my god.
Also, I'm very sorry, but I'm not going to try and explain Yu-Gi-Oh.
I think most people know what Yu-Gi-Oh is.
Yeah, I mean, fucking, it should have been him, not me. The memes, everything about it. It's just, I also got that backwards. It should have been him, me, not him. There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it should have been him, not me.
The reason I don't want to explain Yu-Gi-Oh, I mean, we're going to talk about it anyway, but I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh is so much more than just play a monster and do damage.
Ugh, too many mechanics. Really, too many mechanics.
Yu-Gi-Oh is the only card game where you could log in. I don't know if this applies to real life, but you could log in, queue up for a match, fuck up the flip coin, and now you're playing second. Turn one, you watch your opponent plays what feels like solitaire and lose.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it. You logged in, you pressed play, you lost.
Thank
So
God Master Duel lets me experience that online instead of in person.
I was just about to ask, like, is it the same in person?
Yes, it's worse in person. Cause like whereas Master Duel, it's like automated, right? It's like, someone might be taking their whole turn. But like you have every opportunity to just like cut in when applicable to like a response, like if you have Ash Blossom or whatever the fuck card. In real life, if you're playing your turn, you have to constantly ask if your opponent has a response after every single effect activation. It is so annoying. And on top of that, Yu-Gi-Oh players like typically are known for being like nasty, like personality wise. They'll get mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You start taking your whole turn on turn one, you're gonna get someone yelling at you.
One of the best things I've ever done for my mental health was join the Master Duel Facebook group. There's so much free content just watching people argue and fight, and it's visceral. Like, there are people who have like real hot takes on things, and people get defensive, and it's so wild to me.
Like if Yu-Gi-Oh players have anything, it's the audacity.
Tell a Yu-Gi-Oh player his deck sucks, and he'll insult you, your family, your race, and everything to go with it. If you tell like a Hearthstone player that their deck is terrible, you just go, yeah, yeah, it's terrible. Relies on RNG, gets wins anyway.
It's terrible. You still lost though.
Yu-Gi-Oh players are like, if you insult their deck, they're just kind of like, yeah, and you know what? And my deck is great. I can mathematically prove how stupid you played, and we'll actually just argue everything. And I know you've told me this before that Yu-Gi-Oh players will go so far as to even argue with a judge.
Yes. Oh yes. uh
I know we're veering off a little bit because I mean Master Duel and Yu-Gi-Oh is just so prominent that we have to talk about the TCG of it. But Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't know if MTG has judges. Actually, I imagine they do.
oh
But
yeah, of course they do.
the amount of knowledge to be a Yu-Gi-Oh judge is astronomical.
It's because Yu-Gi-Oh has like so many terms and what those terms apply to that you just need to have so much secondhand knowledge of like every applicable unique circumstance of all wordings. It's ridiculous.
If you're someone who just sees things from the outside, if you think MTG's wording is bad, Yu-Gi-Oh's wording is abysmal. Every word in a Yu-Gi-Oh card matters, and it's fucking crazy.
Like a very like specific thing in Yu-Gi-Oh is the difference between a card saying to target a card and something saying to choose a card. These are not the same thing. They sound like they should be the same. They absolutely are not.
Like this one card pisses me off. I forgot what its name is, but it's a Link 5 card. I think it's like Goddess of the Underworld, where she cannot be destroyed by non-targeting abilities. When I read that shit playing this game for the first time, I was like, what the fuck do you mean by this? What do you mean I can't? What's a non-targeting removal? What's a targeting removal? I was losing my shit. I was like, my card's pointing to it. Why is it not doing it? Like it was just.
I'm telling you, the wording is so fucking ambiguous sometimes. Oh my god, it seems like it shouldn't matter, but it really does.
Shout out to Decade, a Master Duel YouTuber who helped me understand the game to the point where I was able to play a ton and play a different deck and play a bunch of decks. Because he would like spend a lot of time just explaining like this is non-targeting removal, this is targeting removal, and I'm just sitting here and I felt like I was in English class.
You're
Not
in a college lecture.
No, not English class. Like like wherefore art thou, Romeo? But like English class, like hello everyone. Today we're and like just I felt like I was Hispanic learning English again because of the amount of times he kept saying these phrases are what these mean, and I'm just like, what in the fuck?
You were sitting in an ESL class.
Truly, and it's just crazy. But my God, for the time I spent on Master Duel, I really did have fun. I fell off because I'll be honest, they canned my favorite deck, and I just decided I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, I fell off because of the power creep. It was really bad. Like DPE came out and I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Master Duel is the only card game I played where I enjoyed a deck so much, I'm actually going to get a tattoo of it on my leg.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
If I see a prank kid on your leg, I'm gonna kill you.
That's literally the tattoo I want to get. I literally want to get prank kids on my leg.
Oh my god.
Prank Kids is a deck archetype where it basically just revolves around summoning a shit ton of these They're literally called prank kids. They're different types: Lampsies, Dropsies, and Fansies. And you fuse them to become the Butler, which is like the boss monster, who removes all of your opponent's monsters from the field. Well, destroys them. See, that's another fucking thing. Destroy and remove are two different things. And I know you're
Yes.
listening to this shit and you're just like, well, what is the card leaves the board? It doesn't matter, right? Wrong, because there are cards that bring back other cards that were destroyed, but won't bring it back if it was removed, and it's horseshit.
And cards that cannot be destroyed, but they can be removed.
The one when Mert and I played against each other, he played a card on me that literally broke my brain, and he was like, "Oh, this sends to the graveyard. It doesn't destroy it." What the fuck do you mean?
Yeah.
What are you telling me? I sent it to the graveyard. I didn't destroy it. I, that's like running a speed light, and when the officer asks, "What did you do?" and you just go, "Oh, sir, I ignored the speed limit. I didn't exceed it." Try doing that. See how far that gets you.
Like, I didn't destroy you. I only killed you. There's a difference.
We're laughing, but like that's true. That's literally how specific the texts are in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where something like that, it just completely flips on you.
Like, it just seems so innocuous, and yet it's literally game changing.
Oh my god. Just talking about Master Duel gets my blood boiling like I'm playing the fucking game right now. Also, my god, Master Duel is also like one of the only games. Yu-Gi-Oh! As a whole is like one of the only games where like when they announce like nerfs or whatever, everyone bands together and like spams the website just to see what changes they made.
Yeah.
Like holy crap, like people for like I watched a streamer by the name of Farfa on days where like changes were going to be announced, people would just cloud the chat and be like, did it happen yet? Did it happen? What needs to be changed? And I'm just like, yo, can we relax? Like, don't this is gonna sound outdated, but I'm like, don't y'all just get an email when changes are made? But I guess not. But changes and Yu-Gi-Oh are so like such big news that everyone wants to be aware as soon as possible because it could literally mean that their decks are no longer playable, which is what happened to me. For the the prank kids specifically, first they limited my Roxy's to 2, not bad. Then they limited Meow Meow to 1, and in the TCG they took out Meow Meow completely. And I know it sounds like I'm saying something ridiculous, but Meow Meow Moo is literally the name of a crucial card in prank kids. It's basically it's your whole starter. Like if you don't have your starter, like it's just you got nothing. And because the TCG doesn't have Meow Meow at all, and it looked like to me that Master Duel was starting to follow TCG, I was like, it's not long until they take him out too. So I decided to stop playing.
I mean, I kind of wish they would follow TCG so I wouldn't have to deal with Maxi anymore. But hey, I don't think they're going to do that anytime soon.
I don't understand why they even allow it. Here's the thing. So another thing that separates Master Duel from TCG is that Master Duel is a best of 1. TCG is a best of 3. That's why the rules have to be a little different. Card bans aren't consistent. But so what we mean by that is that Yu-Gi-Oh, when you do like actual matches, like full judges there and everything, you play to the best of 3. So whoever wins 2 out of 3, you're good. You officially won that match. In Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel, it's a 1-1. So it's like, oh, I win. That's it. You know, the other guy loses, you collect your experience, and you go up on the ladder. Woohoo! That's why the change is so like more lenient than TCG. But Max C just needs to be gone.
Yes, it does. Maxi is like the most divisive thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! When it comes to whether or not you support it or hate it.
Like Ash Blossom, necessary. and Yu-Gi-Oh especially, you definitely need Ash Blossom, Ghost Spell, Ghost Ogre, Effect Veiler. These are cards I think are necessary because you need some kind of counterplay before your opponent plays Solitaire. You go, whoa, 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 buddy, this is Yu-Gi-Oh, not Solitaire. You gotta stop them. Max C is obnoxious because it doesn't stop. It doesn't technically stop your opponent. Your opponent, if they really want to, if they have enough penis, they can keep playing the game. But because your opponent showed you Max C, there's a part of it that's just like, well, I don't want this fucker to keep drawing cards, so you stop. So Max C is like a psychological interrupter versus like an actual interrupter like Ash. And that's why that card pisses me off.
Yeah, it doesn't stop cards, it stops players.
Only in Master Duel will you have a card like that, goddamn. I remember one time people were making fake cards in Master Duel, but they made like the text look really official. And there was like a card they played where it's just like flip a coin, and if you get heads, you can punch your opponent right in the face. And I know it was fake, but I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if this was printed. I mean, there's a fucking card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Canonically, and like it's real. It exists. You can buy this online on that one card website if you really want to. Where if you play it, you have to shake hands with your opponent. And then a follow-up spell card that says if your opponent shake your hand, you gain this effect. What the fuck?
It's funny because Magic also has a lot of joke cards like that. Obviously not legal in like competitive play, but like in casual play, you can just like throw it in for shits and giggles. Like cards that'll be like, oh, sing this song, and while you're singing it, you'll get like this buff.
Oh my god.
Or some other card that's like you can play a card that's not being played in the game right now, like for free. So you can like go into your binder and just pull out a random fucking card, play it in the game.
I would love to see like an unhinged TCG like that. Like it like just makes up rules as it goes.
I would love it.
Alrighty. We're nearing towards the end. This actually, so you play, or right now, your primary game is Pokemon for TCG, right?
Yes.
So a little funny on the timing. Mert and I decided we were going to record this today, 16th, and Pokemon TCG Online just dropped. So I looked at it. I played the other online TCG one, and I kind of got disinterested because I didn't really see much like deck building guides for it or whatever. So I was kind of like, I don't really want to play this. But I know you play the physical card game. So how do you feel about the online one?
So my online experience was with like the classic online mode, like the game client, which was like you had to like buy QR codes that came in like physical packs, and then that would give you packs in the game that you opened. And it was fun. Like I'm not a huge fan of that system because I don't want to like have to spend money in real life to like get packs in a game, especially because it's very not like it doesn't really give you anything for free in the game.
Mm.
But aside from that, like the client itself, like it plays the actual game really well with like interactions, animations, and everything. So it's like an actually really fun way to play Pokemon if you're able to like make the deck you want to play. The struggle's just actually making the deck. But luckily with like this new Pokemon client, like that seems to have changed since they've now adopted the disenchanting and creating system of new cards. So there's definitely more promise there for free to play.
Mm. I mean that makes sense. It's like you already bought the physical cards. You don't have to go back and like basically rebuy your existing decks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have enough of an opinion to like form about the new one, but the old one I remember played really oddly. The reason I say that is because I think I don't know what it is about. First off, not on Steam, not on Epic, not on any like existing like distributor. It's their own site. So I thought that was weird. And then just like the overall like aesthetic, like the characters, like the little like dudes that you have or whatever. I don't know, it just didn't seem that appealing. I felt like when TCG Live was announced, I was expecting it to be on the same level as Master Duel. Because Master Duel looks great, plays great, and it's only made on Unity. But for some reason, Pokemon insists on still using their own site, their own launcher and shit. And the aesthetics of the whole thing is just so weird.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people are complaining that like the new Pokemon client looks worse than the original graphically, and it kind of did. It looked like a lot more plain. Not as many animations. Like I don't know if they've improved on it at all since I last like looked at the client from when like YouTubers were beta testing it, but it didn't seem that promising when I first saw it.
Yeah.
Because like I mentioned earlier, it had issues with like ridiculously short time between card plays. Like I literally watched a Pokemon YouTuber called Tricky Jim that basically played a supporter card. He played Marnie. And what Marnie does is that both players will shuffle their hands back to the bottom of their deck, and then you would draw 5, your opponent draws 4. By the time the animation of this card would finish in the game, the timer would be up, so you cannot follow up on that card. Your turn would just automatically end.
And that's a pretty severe bug because requires any card game requires thinking. You need that time.
Yeah, like forget time to think. Like this one card's animation took up your entire time. You literally could not do anything else after the card animation was done. That's how egregiously bad this system was.
And we can it's an open beta right now, so it very well could still have issues because it's not a full complete launch yet, but it is available everywhere. Phones and PC, not consoles. But I guess we'll see if this actually picks up or not.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that they'll at least fix that issue by the time they fully launch it.
Okay. Nearing towards the end here. The latest in games and card game world, the latest entry in terms of new and original is Marvel Snap. If you're not hearing it first here, you definitely heard it first somewhere else because Marvel Snap, because it has Marvel on it, that means it has Disney money. Because it has Disney money, that means it has substantial advertisement. I have seen YouTube ads, I've seen YouTube sponsors, I've seen TikToks of Marvel Snap. It's everywhere. Have you actually played Marvel Snap?
I haven't played it myself, but I've like watched a lot of friends of mine play it. Like, it seems
Alrighty.
interesting. I think the main reason I don't play it is that it's a little too casual for my liking. Which isn't a bad thing, it's just, it's not really my flavor.
Oh no, I definitely understand. I think for it to get like more competitive, there needs to be more cards and an actual ranked and unranked mode. Right now, it's just like it's forced rank,
Mm-hmm.
but it has potential. So, in case you haven't seen any of those ads, Marvel Snap is a free-to-play card and PC game, actually on Steam, And it's exactly what you think it is. It's a card game involving your favorite Marvel heroes, but it does not play like any other card game I played before. It's very much, there are these zones. You play your character into that zone, and whoever has the highest value in 2 zones wins. And I gotta say, I have been playing. I was very thankful to be a beta tester. I'm saying that as if like Ben Brode himself like let me in, but I applied to be a tester, and I was for months before the official launch. And I gotta say, it has been so much fun. And I didn't spend any money. I have every card in the game, no money.
Yeah, that's the one thing I respect a lot about it. The most free to play friendly card game I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's not an exaggeration. So the way that Marvel Snap is able to do this is their purchases are purely cosmetic. So they don't have skins, but they have these thing called variants, which again, cheeky for them to use an actual like term in the MCU. But variants is basically like a different version of existing card. So let's say you pull what's his name, T'Challa from Black Panther. You pull T'Challa. You have like a standard version of him, and then sometimes the shop will have a variant of him, except he's pixel art, or he's Venom art, or he's like something else. He's a chibi or whatever. So you can have that. You can put that in your deck and basically just flex. So like, oh, I have a really cool like version of T'Challa. You don't. And it is really fun, and it is extremely free to play friendly. They just completely rely on the fact that mm, it's very rewarding because the more you play, the more cards you get. So it's very encouraging for people to keep playing. And the decks, none of the cards are bad. I did a tier list stream for the launch where I talked about, I didn't want to do a tier list traditionally, like, oh, this card's better than this card. I did a rarity list. So that was me guessing if this card followed the standard like rarity format, what rarity would it be? And it was just really fucking fun. I really enjoyed it. Um and I thought that, and I really think that Marvel Snap has a pretty bright future, especially if they get the PC format out. To wrap this up,
Should I make one more honorable mention?
yeah, sure, go ahead.
Just because topical. Cardfight Vanguard got their first localized video game in the West ever
Oh my god,
for
Vanguard.
Switch and Steam. And
You
I
know,
could not
I
be
did,
more excited.
I did promise you I'd play Vanguard if it came out on PC. So I will have to follow up with that.
And considering that's a game I played physically for many years, it's definitely a little hype.
Yeah, that's big news. I'm really surprised it hasn't been done sooner. Like, I feel like they just need to know that, like, hey, listen, if it's an online card game, you will get a following as long as it's, done well.
They tried to do it before, but then the company like that was making it, like I guess fell apart or like the deal fell through or something. I forget what happened because like I remember there was an open beta for it. I played it. It was really buggy, and I guess they just decided to drop the project instead of fixing the bugs. It was a mess. It was bad.
Goddamn.
But anyway, it's cool because now we have an actually localized fucking way to play this game on the internet.
Do you know when it launches?
It's a very good point. Give me 1 second.
It's $70.
Yeah. Oh, it came out already. But yeah, that's the main issue right now. The price point is a little high.
Or is a demo? I'll try out the demo. Yeah, I see. There's a common theme with everything we talked about today. Free. Free to play card games will always excel. But holy Dix. The fact that this is a $70 game.
To be fair, it's not like a client that you play the game on. It's like, you know, those like Yu-Gi-Oh games that come out on like PlayStation or like PSP or
Oh yeah, of
that
course.
yeah, it's like one of those.
Okay, that
Like-
makes more sense.
That you can play online, and then they're also gonna update it with more sets that are gonna be available through DLC, which is also kind of pricey for some reason.
Yeah, I see the DLC right now.
Yeah,
Well, I see like
there's-
character sets.
There's controversy around this game for the pricing, but hey, I'm just glad we have a game.
Additional card pass, $70. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, I could see. Let's hope they do like the free to play version of this, just so that it like, brings about the game to the mainstream and maybe inspire free to play version or something. Because Vanguard's not. It's not like it's new either. This is a fairly like aged game. I want to say like 5+ years.
Originally this game came out around like I want to say 2011.
Yeah, okay. So it's like a 10 year. It's 10 years. It has a following. There are still tournaments being held for Vanguard. There's Vanguard animes and whatnot. It's definitely like has a following. It could just if they could make something like Master Duel, then they could definitely get this thing going.
Oh, 100%. This is waiting until they eventually decide to do it.
Alrighty. So out of the card games we talked about, which one do you have the most pleasant memories of?
I mean, from recent experience, probably Runeterra. If we're talking strictly like online TC.
Yeah, mostly online. But yeah, I figured
Yeah.
you were gonna say Runeterra. I'm honestly gonna say Shadowverse. Shadowverse was not only like just a good experience, like playing the game. Like I was involved with the community, Twitch streamers and YouTubers with that, like following and talking to them on their streams or whatever. Like I think Shadowverse always has like that good place in my heart with all the memories I have of it. Just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, I feel that. Such a pivotal, critical game of ours.
Yeah, honestly. Well, alrighty then. That was our discussion on the card games. Basically, just rambling about the past, looking forward to the future. And thank you for being here.
I was glad to be here. A fun chat.
Very long chat too. This is gonna be fun to dwindle down. Well, alrighty
Oh,
then.
yeah.
We will be seeing you next time, and I'll probably do a Quinn talks with Mert again another time. We have. There's always things we can talk about, so no worries. Until then, we'll see you all next time.
Peace.